All right. I'm sure we'll be talking about the Chiefs plenty more this week, but we're going to move to the Bills beating the Bucs 44-32, a game that felt closer than this score, but there was 9 different lead changes in this game, but at the end of the day, the Bucs got Josh Allen is what I would call it.
Yeah, it's a great way to put
absolute peak. Second career game with 3+ touchdown passes and 3+ touchdown runs. Otto Graham is the only other player to do that in a game in NFL history. That's counting the playoffs. The Bills are 15-1 at home since the start of last season. That's including the playoffs. 9 games with 350+ total yards this season. Of course, that's the most in the NFL. So, I mean, I didn't see anything from the Bills' defense in this game, Chris, where I'm like, okay.
Yeah, right.
But you're going to lose games like this to Josh Allen when they had no answer. There was times where he'd hold the ball for 7 seconds, he'd make 3 people miss, then he'd end up back where he started in the pocket and chuck the ball all the way down the field.
It's amazing. He's incredible. I said last night, he's arguably the greatest one-man show in the sport right now, right? We're watching John Elway in the 80s right now. We're watching John Elway in the 80s, and I say that for all these reasons. One, because John Elway is arguably the greatest quarterback of all time, too. You could put him in that conversation. If you said, no, I think John Elway's the greatest quarterback, I'd go, I don't think that's crazy thought.
Right.
It's right up there, right? So we're watching a guy here that is so phenomenal, first ballot Hall of Famer, one of the greatest quarterbacks we've ever seen, just like John Elway in the 80s, who's on a good team, but everybody thinks it's a Super Bowl team because the quarterback is so good. And that's what happened to the Broncos. And it's like, yeah, those were good Bronco teams. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to disrespect them, but were they Super Bowl caliber football teams? Not really. And that's why they got blown out in 3 Super Bowls in the 80s, because they probably wouldn't have beat, I don't want to say probably, I don't think they would have beat the teams that lost in the NFC Championship game if they had to play them in the Super Bowl, right? But it was John Elway. And it was like, oh my gosh, how can you stop him and do that? But we've learned through the time of football that one guy making magic and highlight plays and doing what you're talking about is just, not the way you're going to win a Super Bowl. Maybe it happens once every 20 years.
Right. Sustainability, though.
Sustainability.
Yes.
Realistically, beating really good teams that way is just hard for me to believe as we go farther down the stretch here.
K. Gemma with an interesting take, and we always appreciate K. Gemma in the comment section. Do not fall for the 6 touchdowns. Josh cannot keep making these turnovers in big games later. It will cost them the game or season. Brandon Beane is also on the hot seat. Josh needs a real wide receiver.
Yeah. Well, okay. So this is where
I think they go hand in hand, though.
They go hand in hand with everything. This is what we're talking about. K. Gemma, okay, the problem is, yes, he's going to make some mistakes because it's all on him. It's all on him. And that's the problem, just like the Dolphins game last week. He makes a number of unbelievable plays, but if he's not borderline perfect, it's like, wait, he threw an interception in the end zone? Wait, he fumbled the quarterback sneak? Oh, the game's over. Hey, he wasn't perfect. What do we do? And I can sit here and go to other games, Baltimore Ravens, whatever, and go, they lost a turnover battle. They still won.
Right.
Hey, so he doesn't have the luxury of doing that. That's the point. So this K. Gemma, you're exactly right. Yeah, he needs to take care of the ball. You're basically saying he's got to play perfect every week with the 6 touchdowns and the 300 yards. And we're sitting here telling you that's not realistic. That's not. You said it right, too. Again, what I look at is, I love backyard football. We both evaluate that. No, you have to do that. But it can't be the main part of your offense.
It's the bonus.
Right.
That's the.
It shouldn't be the meat and potatoes.
Yes, and I've learned this the hard way through the draft.
Right.
You don't go backwards.
Right, exactly right.
You need to have the baseline.
You got to have the baseline.
Yeah. Yes.
And then you go, okay, wait, he can throw in the pocket and do all these stuff. Oh, and he can go backyard plays? Whoa, he's special. But there's so many plays like you mentioned yesterday where he had 19 completions. I feel like 15 of them were just him making stuff happen. It wasn't like he dropped back 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, he's open. Boom. I threw it in rhythm. See, and that's the things I look for. And that's the things that you'll have to do if you want to beat the Patriots or the Colts or the Rams or the Eagles or somebody like that in a big football game. And that's where it's a little concerning. So that's just the offensive side of the ball. And then, yes, how could you feel good about the defensive side of the ball? I mean, great, they won. I love their fight. They play hard as hell.
Yeah.
But, again, 200 yards rushing. We had runs yesterday where I was in the viewing room in Philadelphia going, Sean Tucker ran 25 yards and didn't get touched.
Right.
He got pushed out of bounds finally without being touched for 25 yards. Like crazy. And again, where I just go, that's not sustainable to think you're going to go to the promised land that way.
Well, here's the perfect stat for it. Buffalo, this is their third game this season allowing 200-plus rushing yards. They're 2-1 in those games.
It's crazy.
When the rest of the NFL does that, they're 1-16.
Wow.
The Bills are the only team that can even think about getting away with this. And I agree with you. You won't get away with it from playoff game 1 to the Super Bowl.
No.
You might do it once.
Right.
You might do. I'll tip my cap if they
Right.
give up 200-plus rushing yards every playoff game and win the Super Bowl.
That's right.
So
If they give up 200 rushing yards, it has to be a game like Baltimore last year in the playoffs, so then you have to cause 3 turnovers, right?
Right.
We need Mark Andrews to fumble
with
in
an
the middle of the
egregious
field.
mistake and drop.
Right. We got to have that. We got to have Lamar fumble and drop a ball, right? We got to have Lamar throw some dumb interception, right? So that's what we're talking about here. Yeah, so that's crazy. It's not a Super Bowl defense by any stretch of the imagination. So we'll see where it goes. Listen, if they can go to the promised land this way, I'll sit here and tell you, wow, this is amazing. They're doing this. There will be an outlier. It's not going to be like something we've seen throughout history. And, yeah, the defense, as we've talked about, just like the other, it's again, not enough big-time football players. And the Bucs, with the run game and what they did, was fun to watch yesterday. But even with them, they have a lot of the same concerns the Bills do.
Yeah.
The Bucs have the same kind of concern. The Bucs, I came away from the game yesterday going, man, the Bucs need their weapons back on offense because they can't depend on the defense to go, oh, we'll win a 2017 game. Their defense is just not good enough this year. They're another team. You'd go, yeah, for a team that's kind of in the Super Bowl window in the NFC, I'm not sure there's enough difference makers on their defensive side of the ball. That's what would scare me. Right? You run the ball. There's always big plays in the pass game. We talked about it with the Patriots game last week, right? And that's what you worry about the Bucs, and that's where you go, man, if they need Chris Godwin's, they need Mike Evans back, they need Bucky Irvin, because those are 3 guys, again, in a game like yesterday where you go, they would have made a few plays too, and maybe instead of losing 44-32, it would have been 47-44 Bucs,
right.
or they lose 47-44, right? You know, you get the gist of what I'm saying here.
And this is so easy to do in hindsight, but I did feel it in the moment.
Right.
Todd Bowles can't punt with 7 minutes
Thank
left
you.
on
Thank
4th and
you.
2. You can't do it. You can't do it. You can't give the ball back to Josh Allen, and it's not like, well, that could have gone 50-50. No, it never does. Everybody does this. They punt, they give Josh Allen one more possession. It's not even fair to your defense at that point. You're not going to stop them. The extra 40 yards you get from the punt, it's Baker Mayfield in the 4th quarter on a 4th and 2. I want the ball in Baker Mayfield's hands, not my defense that's given up 37 points already.
I'm glad you brought it up. I was going to go there. So good that you did it.
It's horrible.
It was well. Listen, I'm one that's kicked the ball most of the time, and especially when we're in defensive struggle type of football games. But to your point, this was not a defensive struggle. This was since the 2nd quarter, nobody stops anybody. Everybody's going up and down the field. So you thought here with Josh Allen just going up and down the field that you punt him and all of a sudden, like, the defense took the magic pill this one series and was like, now we can stop him, right? Like, no, you can't. So totally agree with you. That was shocking to me in the moment. Shocking.
You can't do it.
Because, I mean, we're in an era right now where people go for it all the time, even when it's like 6-3 football games like over in Spain yesterday.
Yesterday was the worst form of it.
The worst. There was a lot of
From 9 a.m. till we went to bed.
There was a lot of it.
Horrific 4th down decisions.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
But this was a game where I was yelling about this with Devin McCourty. I mean, of all games, we're going to punt the ball. Right. Here's the one that's the shootout that nobody stops it, and you're going to punt it. And, yeah, I thought that was an egregious mistake. I'm totally with you, Connor, and I said it on PFT today, and I almost forgot, so thanks for bringing it up.
For the Bucs, back-to-back losses for the first time this season. Like I led with at the top, it just feels like they got Josh Allen in this game. Their defense does have problems. One more comment here from the homies. J3SS3H says, the Bucs were using third-string running backs to break through the Bills' run defense and score on them. The Bills would get destroyed in the playoffs by teams who actually specialize in running the ball. I mean,
like if they play the Colts, I get really worried about it because the Colts can do
Taylor
both,
show.
right? They
Yeah,
can do both.
that's a good point.
You know what I mean? So you just go, what are you going to stop?
Well, and there's a world where they do play the Colts.
I know. So those are the teams you do worry about. Like we've talked about, the teams that have some balance on the offensive side of the ball are scary for the Bills. When they can play a team like the Chiefs where they don't have to worry about the run and they can play all pass defense, then things are even. But when it's the other way around, and it's like, whoa, they can really run the ball, it really compromises them, and we've seen that come about, like you said, 3 times for 200-yard games here this year. Yo, thanks for watching, homies. We are now in the NFL season here on Chris Simms Unbuttoned.
Hit subscribe to get our weekly picks, game recaps, film deep dives, and much, much more.
Thanks again for watching. Subscribe, rate, review. Peace out. You know where to find us.